or do you start together, lay and love all over each other, have your sex, and then separate and go sleep in separate rooms?
The Ugly Truth of Divorce podcast with Sam and Leah, helping you not just survive, but thrive.
Welcome back. In today's episode, we are going to tackle sleep divorce.
Yes. We're going to talk, we'll talk about a couple things. Yes. So I get articles periodically related to divorce because I always like to keep up to date and read things and hear what people are saying. And so I've been getting these articles about sleep divorce. It says they're growing in popularity. Is it time for you to get one? So it says when we talk about couples sleeping separately in sleep medicine, it's usually because there will be mutual benefits to their sleep, mood, and functioning. According to a July 2023 study conducted by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, more than 1/3 of people surveyed admitting to sleeping in separate rooms from their partner, either on an occasional or consistent basis. It says a common problem is that one partner snores and it's disruptive to the other partner. So like, would you do this? At this point in my life, I don't think I would do that. I know that when people get older, I think people do. I remember my grandparents having separate bedrooms for that specific reason, because my grandpa snored like it sounded like he was fucking cutting trees down with a chainsaw. And so she needed to just sleep in a different room.
Yeah.
So I get it, but man, that would suck. I love that intimacy. I love being connected and like sleeping next to them and like, you know, I say them, it's only one. I only sleep next to one person, but I would try to find any other solution. I think whether that's, some people put those like nose things on, or there's like that mouth tape. I don't know if people have used that before. But this is a thing, sleep divorce. People do this where they stay married, but they just sleep in separate rooms. So I guess it's growing in popularity. What do you think?
I have a multitude of thoughts going through my head. I mean, Jared is a horrible snorer. Everybody that knows us knows this about him. He has a CPAP machine because he has a deviated septum. And so, which we're going to go get fixed. But we have to wait because of insurance. We have to wait a year. But so he snores like a chainsaw. I mean, it's not something you can sleep through. His brother has the same thing. His brother has a CPAP also, but then also got his deviated septum fixed, and that helped. But I will say, as somebody that sleeps next to someone that sounds god awful, like they're dying, which makes my anxiety during my sleep of like before he got the CPAP of like wondering, is he going to die? So I wouldn't have ever left the room, because there was some days I'm like punching him in the chest to like breathe, before he got that thing. So I don't know that I would have ever slept in a separate room, because I would have thought he would have died on his own. But it was that because he'd lay there.
Apnea?
Yeah, because my sister-in-law and I, we would send videos to each other of like how long they'd hold their breath, the brothers, because they both have it. And so and it must be a family thing. I don't know, because Jared is 6'5", 270, and his brother's like maybe 6'2", 180, 170. So they're not the same size or anything. But yeah, his sleep apnea is fucking horrible. So I could see the snoring did weigh on our relationship there until he got the CPAP machine. Like I was like, look, motherfucker. And it caused so many fights. I mean, I would roll over. I'm like, you're snoring. He's like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, he was somebody else when he sleeps. Jared is the biggest teddy bear in the world, but when he's asleep, he is not. And I could see there was plenty of nights I went to the couch because I'm just like, fuck this. I need some sleep. So I'll leave. But I don't think if there wasn't like that kind of thing, I don't think I would ever leave the bedroom. But I could see how if you didn't get that addressed and you started sleeping in separate rooms, how you would love the sleep. But I think it would lose the whole vibe of like, before we go to bed, Jared's like rubbing my whole body, like last night I got a massage before I fell asleep. Like that's his love language. And for me, receiving it is too. So like to not have that, I feel like then that would lead you down the path of like regimented sex of like, okay, he's going to come into my bedroom on Wednesdays to sleep with me and have sex with me and then leave and then come again on Saturday and sleep with. So I feel like the only reason he would come to my bedroom would be so I don't know enough about it to know, is that what you end up doing? Or do you start together, lay and love all over each other, have your sex and then separate and go sleep in separate rooms? Because I do know this is pretty popular, where people are like, my bed is my sanctuary. He gets to stay up late and he doesn't interrupt me and wake me up when he comes in. I think there's pros to it, but I think you would have to be completely on the same page in agreement that
Mm,
it benefits both people, because I think the
right.
person that didn't want it, they'd be start to get resentful of like, "Why
Yeah.
am I not in bed with you? Like, what are you doing in your room that I can't be in there?" Or, "I wanna sleep with you," but I could see the benefits. I
Yeah.
think it would just have to be great communication about it.
Yeah.
Great
Like you said, both
communication.
would have to be on board. And then so there's another so I had a TikTok blow up this week.
Mm.
Uh, and I was talking about how sometimes a divorce is the catalyst for finding
Fuck.
your ideal partner. I really
Yeah.
truly believe this because sometimes, like this happened to me,
Yep.
I needed to be in a relationship that taught me what I didn't want and what
Preach.
was not working for me, the
Mhm.
things that I did need in a relationship. I like that's how I learned those
Yeah.
things, was not getting them or shit not working out. And so then when I was divorced, then I had this whole new perspective of myself and relationships and marriage and standards. And so it was like sometimes you need a fucking practice marriage, you need a trial run to learn things that you would never have known otherwise. And then
Yeah.
that will lead you to knowing having more knowledge about yourself and marriage and relationships. So then you can go out and you can find the right person for yourself.
I think it even does a step further, and it teaches you when you are finally in that good relationship, the things not to do or say that causes
Right.
that spiral of fighting and arguing and bitching and moaning. Like, I just think when I was married in a toxic marriage, the fights were brutal, brutal. The things that were said, the things that were done,
Right.
the yeah,
Cutthroat.
just yeah. I mean, who could be the biggest dick in the room? Um, and then now it's like I can't picture talking like that to Jared.
Right.
Didn't think twice about talking to my ex-husband like that. Didn't bat an eye, didn't flinch. Now I'm like, I wouldn't wanna cut somebody like that, and
Mhm.
I'm a very sharp tongue. When I'm pushed against the wall, you are gonna get a tongue lashing. Um, and now I think it's just different. I think that horrible relationship teaches you so much about yourself, and then when you do feel love from somebody with not terms and conditions, um, it was a lot for me to get used to. I kept thinking
Mhm.
the shoe was gonna drop with Jared, though, at the beginning. I was like, "There's no way this man is this good. There's no way this man can be this nice and this much patience with me and this much." And it was hard to trust it because of that shitty relationship. No man had ever shown me that type of unconditionalness before. So
Mhm.
I struggled with it at the beginning, I'll be honest. It was not something I was just like, "Oh, this is great." It was like, he'll be a dick eventually."
Yeah, because
Nope.
everyone's always on their best behavior in the beginning,
Yeah,
right? And then they
yeah.
settle in, and then they get
Mhm.
really comfortable with being crazy and
Which
nasty.
Yeah, which makes me feel bad for those people out there that are so upset with themselves about a divorce and think that they've made such a wrong in their life and that they're tainted or this is just a huge X against them or something. And it's like, no, man, you like took a hard test and you actually passed the test. You figured out that this was not the thing for you and you got out of it. And now you can go on to something great where people are like, I'm a failure. No, you failed at that relationship or that
Yeah,
relationship failed you. Now you get to go on to something great. What's phase 2? What's step 2? Um,
yeah.
and I just don't like that whole and I did. I walked around with shame and guilt for a long ass time thinking that I had this big scarlet letter, "Oh, she's the divorced mom.
Mhm.
She's got a horrible co-parenting life." Like, and that's I think why I thought the shoe would drop with Jared. It was like, who would walk into a situation with I owed a shit ton of debt to my lawyer, had a crazy ex-husband situation where we were not getting along, had 2 kids. It was like, who would
Who's
walk
gonna
in and
wanna
being like,
deal with
"Let's
this?
do it," like, but Jared did,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
Jared
I
did.
honestly, I believe that a failure is only if you learned nothing. Like, that
Yes,
would be a failure. You went through
yes,
all that and you fucking learned not a thing, and you're just
yeah,
making the same choices over and over again.
right,
But if
right,
you learned something, it's not a failure.
right.
And yeah, I mean, you're so right. Same thing happened to me after my second divorce is when I had all the shame talk going on for myself. Honestly, the first one, I didn't. The second one, I was like, Jesus, now I've got 2 under my belt. Like,
Yeah.
people are gonna look at me like I'm a shit show. What's wrong
Mhm,
with her?
mhm.
Um, but it's like the right person will think that you're perfect just as you are. Like your ideal partner exists, and whatever your situation is right now is exactly what they're looking for.
Yep.
I found a man who was never married and he had no kids and he wanted to get married and He loved that I had a daughter. He didn't care at all that I had been divorced twice,
Yep.
because from his perspective, it was, well, everyone has a past. Like, I can't judge you on your
Mhm.
past. He's like, I've done some shit in my past that I wouldn't want to be judged today about. So it's like from this day forward, that is what I'm looking at, and like how we communicate and how we get along, and do we have chemistry? And that's what I am looking for. I could give two shits that you had, two failed marriages, and he loved that I had a kid, because now we've got this little family. So it's like, don't limit yourself. Like, don't talk to yourself like you're not enough, like you're not good enough, or no one's going to want you, because that's just really not true. There is somebody out there that is looking for exactly what you have to offer.
Right. I agree. And it's about timing, and the world will put it in front of you. The universe will put it in front of you when it's supposed to be time. I mean, I got divorced in early 2000, 8, 9, and then I didn't find Jared till 2015. And so I had to be on a journey for a while till the timing was good. And
Yeah.
had I met him in 2000, let's say 10, he wasn't ready. I mean,
Right.
he wasn't ready then. He was still going to work, going out, and living that life as a single guy with no kids and no wife, and so it wouldn't have been good. He needed to figure out and go through a few more years of being single to realize that he did want to get with somebody. And he was even excited to find somebody with kids as well, because he had thought at that time, well, I'm in my 30s. I've already missed that boat. Nobody's going to want to have kids with some 30-year-old, some kind, and that wasn't true. Because then I ended up having kids when I was in my 40s. So it's just timing of like putting in the work and owning it. Like, you're divorced, own it. Like, you can't walk around like, oh, I'm divorced. Like, yep, I'm happily divorced. I always said it,
Yeah.
even when I was faking it, happily divorced, like, because I sure as fuck didn't want to stay in that relationship either. So it's just this divine intervention with yourself that you have to be okay with it so you can heal from it, learn from it, and move on. And then
Yeah.
great things can happen. But we have so many clients that just call us and they're just so ashamed of their divorce, and, oh, it's going to fuck up my kids. And, nobody's going to want, this single mom with 3 kids. And it's like, yeah, they will. There's a Jared and a David out there for everybody. I promise
Mhm.
you. Because they're sitting at home like, man, I've never been married. Maybe some woman's going to think that, there's something wrong with me because I've never been
Right.
married before,
Right.
and it's like, no, that's why we call them unicorns, because it's a rarity to find a guy in their mid 30s, 40s that hasn't been married, doesn't have kids, or doesn't have a crazy psycho ex, girlfriend or a wife or something. So you just got to get past the divorce. I mean, look at the
Yeah.
divorce rate is
And you're
high.
in good company. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of people are divorced.
Right.
It's okay.
Right. The percentage is getting higher and higher.
Yeah.
So to say, hey, I'm just, and I don't like, and maybe this just bothers me. I don't know. But when you fill out forms and
Mhm.
it says like, are you single, married, or divorced? It
Divorce.
doesn't even say single. It just says married, divorced, or widowed. Like, can I just be single? Why do I have to mark that I'm divorced everywhere for the rest of my life?
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
you
and, like,
know,
why? Why does that make any difference?
right.
Why
I've
can't you
always
just say
wondered that.
single then,
Yeah, like, thanks for that. Thanks for that reminder, because I instantly think of my ex-husband. Yep, thanks for that reminder today. I hadn't even thought about him today till I had to mark that box. I've always wondered why they want that.
I don't
Like,
know.
I don't even know. It's a lot of forms,
Yeah.
and so, but they never have engaged. That's because I would be marking that for the past 7 years. Engaged, still
Right.
engaged, still engaged.
Yeah, I
That
don't
could be an
know.
option. Oh, it was when we were filling out our home loan because we had bought a house, and I remember it's like, well, he's marking single, I'm marking divorced, but I'm not divorced from him. So like, why do I have to mark divorced and he gets to mark single? Can we just mark engaged? Like, doesn't that look better on a loan application that I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know why those things are the way they are, but they are. But
yeah.
so I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the sleep divorce thing. And do you feel like you've learned something from your divorce? Let us know wherever you're following us and watching this. What has your divorce taught you? And would possibly of a sleep divorce have helped your relationship or hurt it? I think in my marriage to my first husband, it would have hurt it.
Mhm.
Like, there's no way he would have been okay with 2 separate bedrooms, because his anxiety of, like, mistrust, he would have thought I was doing something in that room. I was talking to somebody, I was calling somebody, I was texting somebody, or just smiling without his permission. So that would have never worked.
Yeah.
Would it ever worked with your first husbands? Would they have been okay with separate bedrooms?
I mean, I think with the first 2, I think I would have been okay with separate bedrooms.
Right, right,
Like, yeah, go away. But with this one, a healthy one, That would be really tough. I don't know what we would do. I don't think either one of us would like it very much. We like
No.
being really close.
There's too much of a codependency when we sleep. Like, I remember when we first started dating and we're living together, I always, like, put my pinky in his in his underwear, like, to fall asleep. Like, I had to know he was there.
Yeah.
And now it's just like one of us always has a foot on the other one that
Yeah.
like the last night he got out of bed because both boys came in our bed. So he left and I woke up instantly, like I could feel him leaving. And then I was just like, these boys, like, and he slept on the couch. So yeah, those of you that deal with snorers, I think you could be like, hell yeah, I want 2 or 3 nights of good sleep without somebody snoring next to me would be great. Sleep apnea machine is great. It stops the snoring. So if your partner would be willing to do that, it would help out. But I'm curious to see what you guys think. Would you have done a sleep divorce? And I wonder why they call it that, because it leads to divorce.
Yeah. I don't know why that's the term. That's interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
When you first got divorced, did you change your Facebook status right away?
Well, let's remember, Facebook had just come out in 2007. I got divorced in 2008. So if you want to ask me,
Okay.
did I change my status on MySpace? Absolutely, because
MySpace.
that's where
That's where you were
I
at.
was hanging out, was my
Yeah.
MySpace account, which I still think is active because I don't know what my password or the email was that I used for that.
Same. I haven't logged into that in
I
years.
know. It's
I
probably
think I
still
changed
playing.
mine right away though. I changed mine to like separated right
It
away.
I guarantee it's probably still playing, the John Mayer song that I have in the background of, when you could start your page and
Yeah.
write and, like, have a
Yeah, yeah.
song playing and, like, yeah, I don't know why, but yeah. I don't think I did. I don't think I did. I don't even think I had, like, I don't even think back then you had, like, who you were married to and all that
Right.
kind of jazz.
Right.
I don't remember that being a thing.
I
I
used
remember
to put everything on Facebook, like going through
oh,
my Facebook memories year after year. I mean, I would just
it's
share,
humiliating.
share, share. Yeah. And I am so opposite now. I keep a lot private.
Except for our talk show and
I mean,
this.
yeah, except for the shit we put on the internet, like, and things we talk about, but like, I'm not posting, like what I'm eating every day. Not
I
there's nothing
know.
wrong with it. I'm just saying, like, I changed. Like, I used to put everything on Facebook, and now like very rarely post
But I
at
think it's
all.
because of what we do for a living, because I used to be the same way too. I'll look at posts and I was posting with my little boys. I mean, just even a few years ago when they were babies, I'm like, one smiled and one took a big shit and one,
Yeah,
I was posting everything. And now, and partly because I have family far away that I feel like they want to see them. But now I'm like, I'm almost dreading like when a big holiday or something or a birthday comes, I'm like, fuck, I got to go find pictures and make this post. And I'm horrible at taking pictures at special events. I'm more like, live in the moment. Then I get in the car. I'm like, fuck, we didn't take a picture.
yeah,
Like,
I know.
I
Same.
suck at that. And I have girlfriends that are amazing at it. I'm so jealous. My sister-in-law is good at it. My 2 girlfriends are good at it. They take pictures everywhere. Like they just did for Valentine's Day of all the things they did. Shout out to Katie. She's such a good picture memory keeper person. And then I'm over here like, I haven't taken a picture of me and the kids and I couldn't tell you how long. Like
Yeah.
I suck at that. And I
I
wish I
know,
was
I
better.
forget also, and then it's like I have none, like,
Yeah.
I need to remember to, like, ask someone to snap a photo.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have some people saying here, my divorce taught me that I can do things called life on my own. I stayed too
Yes.
long because of codependency. Life is more peaceful these days as well. Yes. And
Yeah.
then somebody else saying, "Oh, my MySpace."
MySpace,
Right.
mine was really moody, very moody, I
Yeah.
remember
Well,
it,
you
yeah,
could. You could
yeah.
show your personality on there. Who bought MySpace? Where did that go?
There was a rumor that, like, Justin Timberlake bought it, I heard a long time ago, but that's probably not even true. I don't know what happened to it. I mean, nobody's using it, I don't think.
Um, you did not watch the Super Bowl, right? You only watched the first half?
Yeah, I watched, like, the first hour.
Oh, did you ever get to see the Duncan commercial with Ben Affleck?
I've
And
been seeing it on TikTok, clips of it, yeah,
dude,
yeah.
I just listened to Gary Vaynerchuk's or Gary V's podcast this morning, and he had all the heads of the major commercial corporations like Elf was on, Kia was on, Duncan was on, Doritos, all the people that put commercials out, their head promoting people were on his podcast this morning, and they were talking about why they picked what they picked for the commercial. And the Duncan, they first had to go around, all the people had to go around and say one commercial they thought was the best besides their own. And the Duncan one, man, sold out. Like everybody was like and I think it's our generation because we grew up with those two guys making movies, and
Yeah.
then J Lo. And I mean, there was just so many big faces in that
Right.
commercial, but that commercial also was just like, you remember that it was a Duncan commercial too, where the other ones that were like funny, you're like, what were they promoting though
Right.
like, I don't
Right.
remember, but the elf one was also good because it had Judge Judy in it. So that one was really good
I
as well.
didn't see that one. I see
That
the
was
ones
my
with,
number
like,
2.
Jennifer Coolidge. She's done some elf ones, but
Yeah. So anyways, we're getting a little off subject, but because MySpace just got us reminiscing, MySpace accounts. And for those of you young bloods that don't know what MySpace is, you're just missing out. I mean, it was just one of the greatest social media events of all time. You could be chatting on the screen with people,
you could pick,
sharing
like, your
music.
favorite people, right? You could have, like, your top 10. Like, if
Yeah.
you made it into someone's, like, top 5 or top 10, that, like,
Oh,
you're
everybody
one of their
knew.
besties. Yeah, yeah.
It was That's probably how all of our social media identity and stuff got started to get stolen, was because of our MySpace accounts, because we put our whole lives out there without even thinking of what it could be. I mean, I think my date of birth, I probably had my phone number, everything was address was all on my MySpace account, not even realizing that like hacker galore could be in there. Like
Right, right.
it was like one of the first social medias besides AOL where we could talk to each other, and it was just, I don't know. It was magical, and then Facebook came along and stomped it, but, I wonder if MySpace is still a thing. I'm gonna have to Google it now. So, all right, you guys, let us know what you thought. Do you sleep divorce? Is that what caused your divorce? I'm dying to hear from you if it ended up causing a divorce because your sex life just dwindled after that. And then also, what was the other thing that we talked about besides sleep divorce?
Just get the wisdom that you can gain from
Wisdom,
your
yeah.
divorce, that it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could be something that teaches you all the things you needed to know to find your ideal partner.
Right, absolutely. All right, you guys, have a good rest of your week, and we will be back another time.